Okay, welcome back to another Modern League. This time trying something pretty much hot off the presses. Um, it's a Jund, well, yeah, you can call it a Jund deck. It's in the Jund colours. It's kind of mid-range mixed with a bit of sort of, don't really know whether to say combo or prison maybe. Um, but yeah, let's get into a bit of what it's doing. So 24 lands and then some of the classic Jund style cards. We've got Bloodbraid Elf, we've got Liliana of the Veil, Seasoned Pyromancer, Colligan's Command. But then the new addition, hot into the format as Kaldheim's release, got 4 Valki God of Lies. So this is fine on turn 2. It's when it enters the battlefield, you look at an opponent's hand, you exile a creature until Valki leaves, and then you can pay X to choose a creature card, exile with Valki, with convert mana cost X, and Valki becomes a copy. So if you copy that Uro on turn 2, you can make it into a copy of Uro on turn 3 and attack with it, which is obviously pretty good. But the real reason this is in the deck is it has this very powerful 7 mana Planeswalker on the other end, on the other side, and the magic rules are such that if you cascade into this Valki, you can cast either side. So it counts as CMC2, but when you cascade into it with something like Bloodbraid Elf, you can cast the 7 mana side. So for that reason, we're playing four copies of Demonic Dread, which is target creature can't block, and it has Cascade. Again, 4 copies of Violent Outburst, which is similar, just want the Cascade really, although the +1/+0 can be relevant, as can the can't block. But the real reason is we're only running 4 spells with less than 3 CMC, so the minute you cast Violent Outburst or Demonic Dread, we instantly get a 7 mana Planeswalker. We get to cast a 7 mana Planeswalker. It's also running some acceleration, so you've got 4 Gemstone Caverns, so when you're not on the play, you get to potentially put a land into play before the game starts, letting you, sometimes, you can play this turn 3 on the draw. Turn 2 on the draw, which is obviously very good. You also run 4 Simian Spirit Guides. Again, this card's just add 1 mana, so you can do Violent Outburst as early as turn 1. If say you play a Blackleaf, Blackleaf doesn't work, but say you play Basic Forest, exile 2 Spirit Guides, and then Violent Outburst, you get the big 7 mana Tibalt on turn 1, which has happened a surprising amount in the couple of leagues I've done. You also got Blood Moons, 2 in the main, 2 in the board, so the sort of classic mono red prison line, where if you're against something with a greedy mana base like an Uro deck or Tron or what have you, with the Spirit Guides and the Gemstone Caverns, you've got the potential to slam out an early Blood Moon, which against some decks is just lights out. Same with Liliana of the Veil, just a good card, one of my favourites, but with Spirit Guides you're able to power it out on turn 2, which is nice. And then just some heavy hitters with Chandra and Bloodbraid Elf. Bone Crusher Giant, removal of choice, deals 2 damage and can't be cascaded into. That's why we can't run Lightning Bolt or Fatal Push, because the only things we want to cascade into off of Violent Outburst is Valki. Seasoned Pyromancer, just again really good, lets you discard lands and stuff late game. So yeah, mid-range deck, but with some sort of ridiculous elements, ridiculous sort of starts that you're able to just get ahead of the opponent and they just can't come back. Looking at the sideboard, we've got 2 Blast Zones. I usually bring these in for Gemstone Caverns when we are on the play. Gemstone Caverns doesn't do anything on the play. You've got Boil, really good against Uro, just destroy all islands. They often can't come back from that. Again, you can power it out with Simian Spirit Guide early as well if you want to. More Blood Moons for the reason above. Leyline of the Void for weird things like Dredge, Oops All Spells. Anger of the Gods, just good sweeper. And then 2 copies of Mindbreak Trap, which is good against the new other deck that is running. It's not running Valki, it's running the Cascade spells, but looking to cascade into that new Tybalt's Trickery, which then counters the cascaded the spell with Cascade, and then you get to put Emrakul into play. Mindbreak Trap successfully deals with that. So yeah, without further ado, let us get into a league and begin round 1. So I've played 2 leagues with this so far, gone 4-1 both times. Deck felt pretty strong. Just I feel like it's got game against a lot of things, you know, and so many decks just can't deal with turn 1, 2, 3, 7 mana Tybalt or an early Blood Moon. So it's got quite a few axes to it. So let's see what we're against in turn 1, game 1. So this is a weird hand. So it's got some stuff, you know. It's got turn 3, you're able to cast Pyro, Blood Moon, Demonic Dread, any of those. I think we're going to mulligan though, because I think we can do better. This is a bit awkward, but it does have a Spirit Guide and a Pyromancer. We'll keep this on, and we'll bottom an Overgrown Tomb. You seem to need more red mana in this deck. So we can exile Spirit Guide and turn 1 Valki if we want. We can go turn 2 Pyromancer if we want. Or if we are lucky enough to draw a Violent Outburst, we can turn 2 Tybalt. Okay, so that's a Spirit Guide. So I'm tempted to use it for Valki. Opponent's played Ice Tunnel. So the question is, do we want to power out a Valki? I think we're going to, and then we could turn to Pyro as well. So yeah, I think we'll go and get a Swamp, and then we'll Valki. I mean, if they have an Uro, that would be nice. Let's exile Spirit Guide and play a Valki. See what my opponent's working with. These are the new dual Snowlands from Kaldheim. Okay, opponent actually doesn't have anything. This is going to be a hard one because my opponent has double force in hand, which stops Valki. Misty Rainforest, pass. So opponent, I think this is the potentially blue-black Narset deck. Not sure why they're running this Ice Tunnel. Guess we'll find out. They've got Drown in the Lock. I think we're going to go for the Seasoned Pyromancer here. So play out the Stomping Ground, exile the Spirit Guide. This is a risk because if we get some sort of counter spell like a Mana Leak or a Remand here, we've obviously lost our Spirit Guide, but Pyromancer does resolve. They can kill it with Drown and Lock once we discard these 2 cards, but really after cycling through our deck a bit there, getting rid of 2 lands, and we do draw 2 good spells. Opponent firing off Cling to Dust on my Catacombs. Helps a little bit with Drown in the Lock there. Okay, so looking like my opponent doing something with snow. Forest Island, so they are 3 colour, they're in Sultai. So we'll attack for 4. Sadly now we can't play any of the spells in my hand. Maybe getting rid of those lands is a bit greedy, but killing Valki, which is fair. Okay, so we know they have... Okay, they have found their lands. Well, another Bloodmoon is not what we want to see. We want to see another land now. Worth mentioning that this Demonic Dread, you need a creature obviously on the battlefield to cast this. Yeah. So what we want to find really is, well, we just need a untapped land, and then we can call against command on my opponent's end step, try and get back this Valki. If this is Cryptic, bounce Pyromancer. It's a little annoying. I suppose they could bounce a land, which is probably what we're going to see. Yeah, so bounce the land, which is annoying, but yeah, not sure what the win con's going to be. Given that they're playing Forest, it's probably Uro of some sort. Okay, so we find a Spirit Guide, which is interesting. I don't... My opponent's at 8 life, which is... yeah, not bad. What are they casting now? So this looks like another Cryptic. Returning Young Pyromancer. Okay, so in that case we're going to want to hold on to Spirit Guide. Okay, so I think what we're going to do... So Violent Outburst enables us to cast Tybalt. We know that they have 2 Force. I think we're going to exile Spirit Guide and cast another Pyromancer. They can't force a Pyromancer. They can Mana Leak it though. Okay, so my opponent's at 6. If they find Uro, we're in deep trouble. We could do finding another land. We do find another land. So end of my opponent's turn, we will 4 mana in end step. Fact or fiction? Probably. No, it's a Cling to Dust on my Gemstone Caverns. We will take that deal. Yeah, especially since I can... My opponent can't now Cling to Dust again. So end of my opponent's turn, we're going to call against command, try and get back Seasoned Pyromancer, shoot them for 2 damage. If they want to count... Okay, so they're putting Cryptic on top. Okay, I think that's fine. This is a little awkward, because now... so they're at 5. They can keep Cryptic King us with Mystic Sanctuary is the trouble. So we're going to fetch... we want double red, so let's get a Blood Crypt. Now, there's no point in making them discard really here. So we're going to return target creature from my graveyard to our hand and deal them 2 damage. So we'll get back Seasoned Pyromancer, deal my opponent 2 damage. Expecting a Cryptic here, really. Worst, I guess, would be another copy of Cling to Dust. Okay, opponent lets that resolve. Okay, so we find another land. So opponent can Cryptic, and they can also force. So do we try for Pyromancer, just into Cryptic, or we could try and Violent Outburst at the end of their turn. untap and play Pyromancer. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to try and sort of choke them on mana here. So we'll try and Violent Outburst at the end of their turn. It might not work, but so we'll go for it. We are a little bit choked on mana. Let's try this. So my opponent will probably let this resolve. And then I could cast Valki, but I think we're going to go for the big boy. Tibalt, which will get Forced or Cryptic or something. Yes, this is looking like, yeah, just a Force of Negation. We've got to get past them sometime. Another Demonic Dread is not really what we want to find. They're kind of getting to the point where they have to counter these Pyromancers. They are at 2 life as well, so this fetch land would put them to 1 if they want to counter this. So they are at 1. We are running Bone Crusher Giants in our deck. Cling to Dust, I suppose, puts them up to a virtual 4 because they can gain some life by exiling my Pyromancer. Okay, so they've Crypticed it. So they're at 1 life. Turns off fetch lands, although as I say they can go to 4. What are we looking for here, really? Okay, so this is, yeah, and they can, annoyingly, they can do that again, so they can actually go up to 7. Although they haven't got another black mana. If this is Uro, we're in trouble. Oh no, cycle a Triome. Okay, so they're relying on Force, I think. So we find a Foothills. I think we're going to go for a Blood Moon here. Actually, let's try and get a forest first. Get a forest, play a Blood Moon. Oh. Blood Moon. My opponent will force this, one would imagine. Yep. Okay, we're keeping jamming our stuff. Opponent at 4. Cling to Dust has been pretty clutch from my opponent. Okay, so we can play a Valki. See what they've got in hand. They have a lot of stuff. They have another 2 Force of Negations and a... Okay, so I think what we have to do, we're going to make them use the... We're going to have to make them use the Force. How many Valkyries do we have left is the trouble. That's the trouble. We've got 1 Valky in exile and 1 in... Yeah, 1 Valky in exile and then 1 on the battlefield, 1 in the graveyard, so we can't Demonic Dread and get Tibalt countered. So it's going to go for a Blood Moon. Opponent got all the removal in hand, so they're forcing that, which is fair. And then pushing the Valky. So yeah, struggling here just at the sheer quantity of interaction my opponent has. We draw another land, which is not what we want. Yeah, we've against my opponents, they got 3 removal spells in hand and a Force of Negation, and they keep getting to Cling to Dust our stuff to gain life or draw cards. Choosing to draw a card there. So we pass. This is the trouble with these demonic dreads, and in this matchup we may sideboard them out. Gonna get an overgrown tomb. Only got 7 cards in hand. Maybe we should be waiting now. So Seasoned Pyromancer, they can't discard that, so I think... sorry, they can't force this. I think we go for this now. Get rid of these demonic dreads. Hopefully my opponent hasn't got... We can pay for Mana Leak. They can kill this with Decay or Push, although they can't get Revolt at the moment. We'd quite like to find Bone Crusher Giants here. Remand. That's a little frustrating. Opponent found a remand. Because if we manage to cast Pyromancer and make two tokens, yeah, my opponent is at 4 life. They can cling to dust again. Oh, okay, so no, I think we lose now. Opponent eventually found Uro. And they still have a Force in hand? Yeah, they still have a Force. So we're going to get to resolve Pyromancer. I guess we're getting to the stage where we can nearly hardcast Valki, but... Okay, yeah. This is going to do for us, I think. Although we could Cascade into Valki this turn. We could... Yeah, I think we haven't got red mana. Bone Crusher... Yeah, so they're not great hits. Because we can't cast any of them. My opponent has Force, so our only chance really is to... Needed more red mana, really. What's our chance here? So we can't burn them out now. Okay, my opponent getting Field of the Dead as well. So we're going to block the Uro with an Elemental token. We know my opponent has Force, so we can't just jam this Demonic Dread now. They can make another zombie. I think we're out of this. Opponent discards, probably another Fatal Push. Yep. Let's see what we can do. Double Bone Crusher isn't great, so let's try for a Pyromancer again. Yeah, we don't really want these games to go long. We can't beat the grinding power of Uro, which is a shame. Post sideboard we get more Blood Moons and Boils, and yeah, opponent running all 4 Force, which is possibly a concession to the new Tybalt's Trickery and this sort of thing. Okay, so Pyromancer resolves. I think we're going to have to get rid of Demonic Dread. We find some Bloodbraid Elves, which are sometimes good. I think I'm okay to attack here. If they want to block with a zombie, that's fine. Pyromancer can eventually make some tokens. Okay, opponent playing Ice Fangs. That's hence the blue and green Snow Jewels. Another Ice Fang. Oh, so yeah, I was going to say I was a bit surprised that they have not put something on top with Mystic Sanctuary, but they probably are only running 2, and they're both out at the moment. Opponent got 6 cards in hand. Thoughtseize. Sure. I don't know that much can save us here. My opponent still has a force, so Bloodbraid into Tybalt doesn't work. So we don't have to block here, but I think we will take less damage. So we draw Catacombs. So let's try a Bloodbraid Elf, see what we hit. We hit this, so we're going to cast... Do we cast Stomp or do we cast Bone Crusher Giant? I think we'll cast Stomp. Let's start... Well, yeah, that's fine. We'll Stomp a zombie. And then play a land. So we could try and kill Uro here by blocking. I think, well, they've got a force, they can force if they want. We'll get another land, cast Bone Crusher Giant, and see what happens. Opponent, obviously we're well behind here. They find Snapcaster for Cryptic, which is going to tap our team, draw a card. GG. Okay. So, unsure if we want things like Leyline of the Void here. So it stops... I think we might do. Let's see what we can take out. So... I think we do not want this going long. We do not want this game going long. So I think we're going to take out all of these Kolaghan's commands. We're going to take out the Demonic Dreads because they don't play enough creatures until they get to Uro, and yeah, that's not a winning strategy. We're definitely bringing in all these Boils. We're definitely bringing in these Blood Moons. Now the question is, do I want to make room for Leyline of the Void? They can exile it with... They can bounce it with Cryptic. Blood Moon. Against a deck with 4 force, do we even want to trim on these? Probably not. Do I want to bring... I could bring in a couple of Leyline of the Voids. Season Parameter. What do we want to cut? Bloodbraid Elf is good, usually against control, but Uro kind of shifts that a little bit. I think we'll cut a Bloodbraid Elf and bring in 3 copies of Leyline of the Void. Don't know if that's right. I think we'll go with that. Don't know if this is right here. Anyone's got any ideas, let me know. Okay, so this is a turn... I think we'll keep this. It's a turn 2 Violent Outburst, which is nice. Potentially. Just depends if my opponent has Force of Negation. I think... Actually, what we can do is we can go... Turn 1, play Blackleaf Cliffs, pass. Turn 2, fetch a Stomping Ground, Violent Outburst in their upkeep. They only have 1 mana. And then, I mean, we got a little bit by Assassin's Trophy is the only thing I can really think of. Actually, yeah, we're going to play as Verdant Catacombs and pass. Because we can fetch and take no damage. Or do I want to... No, I don't want to... I need more red mana. I was kind of choked on red mana last game. And this deck can get through just having mountains if we have to Blood Moon ourselves. Let's see what my opponent does. Oh, I thought Siege would be gross. Didn't think about that. Okay, so my opponent takes Violent Outburst, I would imagine. Inquisition's not common in Sultai. Take Simian Spirit Guide. Okay, so that potentially implies they don't have a Force of Negation. Let's see. So, or maybe that implies they do have Force. Because they could, if I draw another Spirit Guide, they could force it. Not sure. Not sure what that means. Let's see what land they play. Polluted Delta, pass. Okay, so we haven't drawn very well. I think what we do... I think at the end of my opponent's turn, we'll try for a Violent Outburst. And then if it resolves, we're good. If not, we can untap and try Liliana. Cast Tybalt. I'd imagine this is getting... Could be Remand. Could be... Remand's not too bad, because then we can cast Valki, try and steal an Uro. Something's happening. Mana Leak into Force would be really bad. Okay, there's the Mana Leak. Okay, so now... Bloodbraid Elf, do we want to do that, or do I just want to slam Liliana? I'm going to slam Liliana here. So Bloodbraid Elf could hit something good, but it could just hit nothing. We want to do this while they're tapped out. We'll discard a Wooded Foothills. It's turn 4, so I can play a land as well. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent hits their 4th land. I think we'll go and get a forest here, just in case we cascade into Blood Moon. And my opponent doesn't have anything. Leyline of the Void. So yeah, we're going to tick up and just discard Leyline of the Void. Yeah, I like Leyline of the Void in these decks where you've got things that can discard it. Liliana, Seasoned Pyromancer. Because otherwise, yeah, it's a horrendous draw. Yeah, we'll definitely cast Seasoned Pyromancer off that Bloodbraid Elf. Annoyingly, we have to discard this other Seasoned Pyromancer, but we'll live. Okay, so we make a token. Could be a Fatal Push here. Opponent did discard a Fatal Push. Pretty confident my opponent doesn't have Force of Negation. Could be Cryptic. Cryptic, counterbounce Liliana. Oh yeah, that's pretty bad, because then I have to discard Liliana to Seasoned Pyromancer. Trigger. Maybe, yeah, I think I should definitely cast that there, if they're cashing in their Cryptic. To bounce this, draw a card. Okay, so they're countering Bloodbraid Elf. Do get to see some cards here, and we get to make some tokens. Finding 2 lands is not what we wanted there at all, but there we go. Got 4 power on the field. can exile Seasoned Pyromancer if we don't find any gas. Opponent now can... yeah, I meant to do this end of turn, but do it now. I'm just going to get a Stomping Ground, make sure we've got enough red mana. Life total doesn't matter too much here. Of course, we instantly draw Blood Moon. We haven't fetched our basics, but I think that's fine. So we'll play out our land to play out Mana Leak. Opponent could have Force here, could have Cryptic. Okay, Blood Moon just wins there. Maybe they just had a land in hand. We're pressuring them. They could put something on top. I haven't really got anything. So yeah, okay, GG's. And we'll go to game 3. So Leyline of the Void. Maybe that isn't right. Maybe we should be playing... So we showed them Leyline this turn, this match. Do we think... So it would stop... I just can't get over the fact that I think it will stop Uro. They're not running Teferi. I think I'm just going to ship it back. We're on the draw, so Gemstone Caverns. That's a good point. On the play, I should have removed Gemstone Caverns and brought in Blast Zone. Forgot that last time. Let's see what we can do here. So that's a Gemstone Caverns and a Spirit Guide, but we'd have to top deck another land to play it. So I think we're going to mulligan this. This is Gemstone Caverns, so yeah, I think we'll keep this. We're going to put Oh, can we cancel that? Yeah, so we can. So we have to put a card on the bottom. Going to put Chandra on the bottom, and then we're going to do Gemstone Caverns, and we'll exile. I don't think Bonecrusher Giant does too much, so we'll just do that and go for a turn 2 Blood Moon. Turn 2 Blood Moon into turn 3 Blood Moon. They lead in a Swamp and Thoughtseize. Well, the hand's fairly Thoughtseize proof. Take a Blood Moon. Another Gemstone Caverns isn't really what you want to find. Yeah, this is when we're in dire straits a little bit here. Opponent played a basic swamp, but then a tapped land, so we're going to force them to have force here. That's a very good draw. So we'll go Blood Moon. My opponent doesn't have a Force of Negation, so they could have basic Island Ether Gust. Ether Gust is probably in their deck. They have a basic Forest, but no blue mana now. Okay, so this is pretty good. Okay, so we find basic Swamp as well. So we're definitely playing this out. Okay, we find Bloodbraid Elf. Yeah, we're definitely going to cast this. Cascade into 7 mana Planeswalker. Cast Tibalt. That was a very good Cascade. Double Cascade, we'll take that. Could be Assassin's Trophy, which would be a bit sad. We're going to tick up before anything else. Okay, I find Boil and Inquisition. So that's not bad. I mean, Boil with... Okay, so Boil's got potential. Yeah, okay, so they abrupt decay the Blood Moon, but we do have Tibalt on the field. Opponent is a little bit short on mana, and we can then, next turn, we can Inquisition into Boil. Okay, we'll take that. We could exile this, which is interesting. Has my opponent not drawn any mana? Okay, Field of the Dead. Only one island, which is a little bit frustrating, I guess. Season Pyromancer is a very nice draw. Although we don't have... Oh, we do have double red. So I think we're just going to tick up. Another Inquisition. So we'll play a Foothills. Inquisition, my opponent. Notably, we don't have to pay black there. So they have a Force and an Ice Fang. We'll take the Ice Fang because we're not doing anything that can be forced at the moment. Discard my Gemstone Caverns. Attack with all creatures. They block with their Ice Fang Coatl. So we know they have a couple of lands in hand. Nothing, no real drama. This is something. Oh, they find an Uro. So we can cast this Boil at some point. If they put a island into play, they put Misty Rainforest into play. Okay, my opponent just concedes. They know that as soon as they try for Uro, I can boil away. Even if they do Uro, I can Tibalt and then cast it. Cast it from exile. Probably wouldn't want to though. The fact that this exiles is really strong. So yeah, we we get there post board there with Boil and Blood Moon coming in clutch. Gemstone Caverns allowing us to Blood Moon on turn 2 was great. Okay, so we're 1-0. I'll see you for round number 2. Okay, welcome back for round number 2. This is a streamer by the name of Grim Player, I believe. I'm just gonna yeah, I digress. Yeah, this my opponent is a regular YouTuber. Uploads a lot of black-green rock content. Not sure what he's on at the moment. I think we're going to keep this. We've got a turn 3 Demonic Dread. Don't know what my opponent is on these days. He plays a lot of black-green rocks, I say, sometimes Jund. So, black-red. Inquisition, sure. So, what are we looking to draw here? Valki would be okay. Something like a Liliana. Yeah, he takes the Dread. Okay, so Call Against Command. Not too bad. Still not quite sure what my opponent is on. See what they fetch here. Okay, so this looks looking like Jund. That's a Tarmogoyf. Okay, so maybe traditional Jund? Could be Shadow. Either way, we're going to fetch I think a Blood Crypt here. Okay, there's a Valki. So we can either Valki... Yeah, I think we're going to... If we Valki and we just get Liliana, we're in trouble. But I think that's fine, so we can then kill the Liliana with a Colligan's command, get back the Valki. So we're going to get a Stomping Ground. Got a shock, unfortunately. Sadly, they do have a Liliana Veil. No third land, though. So yeah, this is just straight up Jund. Renin 6 would be brutal here. Liliana's not awful. We can then kill Liliana with K command. We would have to exile a Spirit Guide for it, which would be very annoying if we don't hit a land. Let's see, opponent in the tank. So I would imagine if they hit a land, it's just a case of slamming Liliana, but they don't. So does Valki count as both creature and a planeswalker in the yard? Tarmogoyf's a 4/5, so they have 3. No, just a creature. Okay. So we've got the land. I think we'll play that out. And I think we're just going to Pyromancer, generate some blockers. Look for something a bit more unfair to do. So let's get rid of Bone Crusher Giant and Simian Spirit Guide. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad there. See what my opponent hits. This insulates us from Liliana of the Veil now. Yeah, not hating how this is shaping up. Assassin's Trophy doesn't really do too much for us. I guess Assassin's Trophy is annoying. If we manage to cascade into the big boy. Opponent stuck on land by the look of it. We're going to get to Pyromancer again, depending on what we draw. Oh, they are running a Valki. Okay, so that's not too bad. We get to kill this with Colligan's command, pick up a either make them discard or pick up a creature. Interestingly, we could pick up Simian's Spirit Guide, but I don't think that does anything for us. So I'm going to attack with Pyromancer. I'd be happy for them to trade Valki for that. No, refuses the trade, don't blame them. So we're going to return target creature. Yeah, we'll return target creature. We'll get... Don't think we want our own Valki. Let's get Bone Crusher Giant. Oh, I've done that wrong. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, deal 2 damage. There we go. So get back the Bone Crusher Giant, kill their Valki. And we'll play out a tap land. And say go. We've got a blocker for the Tarmogoyf. Got some fairly decent stuff in hand. Other Tarmogoyfs. Renin 6. Okay. So pinging that so we can stomp Renin 6. Bit surprised my opponent didn't choose to get a land back there. Okay, this is now... Obviously this is what we do. So we're going to Demonic Dread. Okay, so we're going to Demonic Dread the Tarmogoyf. Maybe worth thinking about. think we Demonic Dread the Tarmogoyf, attack Renin 6 for lethal, exile the Tarmogoyf with Valki, with Tybalt. So we will cast Cosmic Imposter. My opponent concedes to that. Opponent could obviously trophy it, but we've got so much gas in hand. Opponent got very unlucky there, missing on lands. I think they were going for the just attack me out of the game with Tarmogoyf, but now I can exile the Tarmogoyf. Yeah, so what do we want against Jund? So we're on the draw, so we want Gemstone Caverns in. Blood Moon's fine against Jund. I actually quite like my main deck against Jund. The only thing I'd consider would be 2 more Blood Moons. But how much do you want those? Violent Outburst, what could they be boarding in? They might be boarding in grindy pieces. I think we should try and do... I think Spirit Guide enables some of our more broken starts. But I might cut us... let's be cowards and split the difference. Let's go 1 Blood Moon in, 1 Spirit Guide out. Not interested in any of the rest of this, I don't think. See what we look at as an opener. Hope everyone's doing well wherever they're watching from. Quite enjoying this deck so far. We're 1-0. Yeah, I guess if it gets into a top deck war and we just have the ability to top deck a 7 mana Planeswalker that we can play, then that's probably pretty good. Okay, I think this is fine. If we're going to be trying to grind against Jund, I think this is fine. We've got 2 Bloodbraid Elves, a Violent Outburst. I think we'll keep. Not sure why I have got 2 different arts for Bloodbraid Elf. There we go. Not sure what we really want to copy with Valki. A Tarmogoyf's average. If they've got a Croxer, that would be nice. Turn 2 play Valki, turn 3 make it into a copy of Croxer, attack for 6, and they discard a card. Okay, so we're getting Inquisitioned here. Wouldn't be surprised. I think they'll probably take Violent Outburst. Depending on what they've got in hand. It's just going to be so good if we can, if we top deck a Spirit Guide or something and play it on turn 2. Yeah, they do take the Outburst. Do we find? We find a Verdant Catacombs. Okay, so Wooded Foothills Pass. Do we want to think about? Yeah, we've brought in an extra Blood Moon, so I think I am going to start fetching fairly aggressively for basics. Okay, opponent Thought Seizing. Takes a Bloodbraid Elf. So there's probably a Fatal Push in my opponent's hand. Don't think I want to fetch a basic just yet. Don't think we want to cut ourselves out of turn 3 Season Pyromancer. So let's go and get a Blood Crypt. Okay, so we hit a Blood Moon, which is interesting. So I think here we'll fetch a Forest. Might give the game away a little bit, but I think that's fine. So this is obviously the new version of just Jund slamming 3 or 4 Valkis in, hoping to cascade into it with Bloodbraid Elf. No Fatal Push from my opponent. And no creatures either. Okay, so they fetch and shock. So they've got a Collective Brutality and a Colligan's Command. None of which we really care about. I don't think. If we can untap, fetch a Swamp, and Blood Moon my opponent, that's gonna be good. Okay, they play out fetch. Wouldn't be surprised to see an Escalated Brutality or a Colligan's Command here. Colligan's Command doesn't really do much. Kills this, we discard a land. Brutality, they are escalating and they're probably going to be quite sad. That's another Bloodbraid Elf, which you want to see as many of those as possible against Jund. Just as many 2-for-1s as we can muster. So we're going to go ahead and get a Swamp and jam our Blood Moon. Opponent will fetch for probably a Forest, in case they've got Bloodbraid Elf, and they can Cascade into Valkyrie. Yeah. Let's see what my opponent does. They can't. They do lock themselves out of Colligan's Command with that. Let's see. Okay, they draw their snow-covered swamp, which is fine. Pyromancer's a good draw. We're going to go. I mean, we can now go elf into Pyromancer, which is fairly good. What are we going to hit? Yeah. I don't actually know if I want to cast that. Discarding these two cards, what better cards are we looking for? I'm not going to cast that. And I don't know if that's crazy, but my opponent's on quite a lot of life anyway. Don't think I'm bothered for casting that. I suppose my opponent could Colligan's Command, I discard a card in response. Maybe that's crazy. Here we go, Colligan's Command, kill this, I discard. Yeah, don't blame them for that. So I think we'll discard now. Season Pyromancer. Go for the try and go for the 2-for-1. I think my opponent's last card. Maybe they did discard. Actually, I don't think they do have another Verdant Catacombs. What are we going to draw? Demonic Dread. We don't mind that. Yeah, annoyingly we're slightly punished for that line. Yeah, this is the annoying thing about Simian Spirit Guide. Don't really want to Cascade into it with Bloodbraid Elf, but there we go. And then next turn, wouldn't be surprised to see a concession to a Demonic Dread. Yep, Tarmogoyf is a-okay with me. We can even make it not block. Cascade. Cast the big guy. Rider the Valky's over here. Yeah, we just win that. Jund just getting outvalued there. Opponent got unlucky on lands game 1, and then we managed to land the Blood Moon game 2, and they didn't really draw anything. But this Tybalt is just, well, if you can get it down, like that wasn't even too early. That's turn 6, but he's just brutal. Okay, well we're 2-0. Let's see you back here for round number 3. Okay, we're back here for round number 3. Not sure about this hand. I think we have to mulligan this. We can do better. We're not doing anything until turn 3. No, we haven't even got the appropriate lands. 2 Spirit Guides. Okay, so this is a this is a turn 1 Valki. So we're going to keep this, and we're going to bottom the Bloodbraid Elf. We're so far away from that. Yeah, turn 1 Valki. Here we go. Unless we get Thoughtseized. Flooded Strand. Okay, so against a Flooded Strand deck, we're going to yeah, we're going to play out a forest. If I do it now, we're liable to get forced, so I think I'm going to do this in my opponent's upkeep. Yeah, so if we do it now, so we're going to violent outburst, pay this. Doing this now so my opponent can't force the Tibalt. There we go. Turn one. That's the first turn one on stream. Let's see if it's good. Oh, I mean, this deck is hella fun. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, this happens more than you might think. So, we've played 5 games. We went 2-1, 2-0. Don't think we hit any turn 1 Tibalts in that. But we've hit one in this game. Yeah, yeah, just playing around force there is right. Like, my opponent pretty much couldn't do anything. Don't think there's anything in that deck that stops that. They don't run main deck Spell Pierce. Nothing like that. Don't think there's any. This can't be Abrupt Decade either. That's just insane. Okay, so we'll tick up. Okay, so we hit 2 lands. Not too bad. We'll play my own. We don't want to put more card types in the graveyard for more cards in the graveyard for an opposing Uro. And now I think we're content to wait and try and tick up win with this Tibalt. Looks like my opponent's playing around Blood Moon. There's Uro. Are we going to Bone Crusher or anything? I think I'm going to Bone Crusher end of turn. Opponent not putting a land in. Do we want to Bone Crusher? I think we do. Might as well. I don't think there's going to be many more Bone Crusher targets. I guess they can bounce this with Cryptic, is possibly what they're going for. Wouldn't say no to a Blood Moon. Mystic Sanctuary. Okay, that's not ideal. Just cast Bone Crusher Giant. Yeah, I think we're just going to cast Bone Crusher Giant here. We've got a swamp that we can play at some point. Probably should have played that here actually, but what should we go and get? Let's get a forest. They're not really going to be pressuring our life total, I don't think. Let's just play out Bone Crusher Giant. It's a 4/3. This card's been really impressive as well. Like 3 mana 4/3 with upside, and you get the stomp on the front half. So wouldn't be too surprised to see a Cryptic bounce draw here, although they were missing a land. Still no land from my opponent. It's pretty brutal. There's a Chandra as well, so we're going to play a swamp. Probably should have ticked this up first. Yeah, just going to keep ticking up Tibalt. Exile the top few. There's a Narset. I think we're going to want to cast that Narset. This probably just gets countered. Maybe this was wrong. Maybe this was loose. Puts a card in the graveyard for my opponent, but I think it's worth it there. You know, we're going to want to be casting Chandra at some point. Gets the counter spell out. Tibalt is very good insulation against Uro. I mean, I could now. Next turn, if my opponent doesn't Uro, I will just exile our Tibalt Ultimate. We can even cast... no, we can't. I was going to say we could cast Chandra. If they force it, we could do this, but force exiles the card, so... My opponent going for the Uro, I think. Is it you may play? Oh yeah, you may play, so it's exile cards from all graveyards. So yeah, we're going to exile this Uro. Probably won't end up playing it again, because then it puts it back in my opponent's graveyard. Could be a Fatal Push on my Bone Crusher. It is Fatal Push on my Bone Crusher Giant. Do you like the fact that Tibalt can permanently deal with Uro? Okay, so we've got backups for that. We're going to exile Uro. Don't think we want to play it. How worried am I about my opponent's force? I think we're just going to jam Chandra. Make my opponent use resources to keep countering my bombs. Yeah, there's a force. They pitch another force. It's going to play this Blackcleave Cliffs. Say go, opponent. Yeah, this Tibalt is super strong. Opponent probably looking for Cryptics. I haven't really got any pressure. But, well, I mean, I guess Tibalt is pressure of his own. Is there anything in the yard that we'd want to counter? Not really. Okay, opponent putting Force of Negation back on top. Don't think we really care about that. Oh, unless this is Cryptic Bounce Draw. Hour of Promise. Okay, that's that's one way of doing it. Yeah, that's quite annoying actually. I thought, yeah, we were quite ahead here, but that may change things. Okay, Seasoned Pyromancer. So we know my opponent's got Force of Negation. Right, let's take Tibalt up. We hit some stuff. Let's play... I'm assuming that Verdant Catacombs is ours. It doesn't actually say. So we can... I think we'll start off with Pyromancer. See, so we'll get rid of a Wooded Foothills and a Demonic Dread. Okay. Oh, I tapped a little bit wrong there. Oh no, we can play a Verdant Catacombs. I can play another Pyromancer. Go and get a Blood Crypt. So we're generating lots of tokens now. We can block and save Tibalt. Do I want Violent Outburst? Or do I want K Command? K Command isn't doing much with this. We might want a replacement Tibalt. K Command has them discarding and kills something. Oh, I think I'm going to get rid of the Outburst. And say go, opponent. Yeah, I don't... Annoyingly, we're going to struggle to beat Field of the Dead. Okay, opponent casting Uro. Yeah, not sure how we beat Field of the Dead. I can exile both of our graveyards and then cast some spells. Cryptic would pretty much win the game. How am I blocking here? How does this deck... How do we get past Field of the Dead? Oh yeah, that pretty much wins the game for my opponent. Yeah, so Tibalt deals with Uro really well. There's a lot of power coming our way. So I'm going to block with one Pyromancer. I think the jig is up now, unfortunately. Yeah, it's just that Hour of Promise that's done it. Liliana, not really what we want to see. What do we want to do? Is there any value? We can exile some tokens. I could cast an Uro, then it puts another card in their bin, but we draw a card. We could Valki. We know they've got a force, so I can force Liliana. Let's go Valki. And then, if they've... Yeah, we'll see what they've got. Trouble is they've got another Uro in the bin. Yeah, maybe I should have kept the Demonic Dread. Yeah, that would have been pretty good here, because I could have Kolaghan's Command, they discard a card. Yeah, they can't force now either. Oh, I swear they had force. Oh well. So we're going to want to get rid of their Archmage's Charm. I think Liliana's the easiest way to do that. I mean, we could cast Uro. They're getting it anyway. So if we Uro and then let's Uro and then Liliana. I think that's fine. We gain 3 life. Put the Gemstone Caverns in. I guess Liliana can fight through Field of the Dead, but I think it's going to be very hard. Do we Liliana, or do I just Kolaghan's Command? Because Liliana can deal with an Uro. Do I want to get a creature back instead? Yeah, I think that's better. So we'll return target creature card. What do I want? Bone Crusher. Let's get a Pyromancer, and you discard a card, please. Yeah, but then Uro is going to drag my opponent kicking and screaming back into this game. Well, actually, it's Field of the Dead. One of my... Well, I don't know. I can't really say it's one of my least favourite cards since I play a lot of Sultai. But, yeah, Field of the Dead's just really obnoxious at the moment. Like, this game, we'd pretty much got sewn up. I guess... I guess we can't really complain too much that they're doing unfair things with this when I'm casting a 7-mana Planeswalker on turn 1. But shows the resilience of the deck that it's able to beat that. There's Jace. Not sure what they're looking for with Jace. Expecting to see an Uro. We're just going to fold to these zombies. Because again, we could fight through just an Uro. You know, Liliana keep down ticking or what have you. I think this is going to be another matchup where... I mean, we played this in game 1, didn't we? We're a dog in game 1. But then after game 1, we get to bring in... Boil and extra copies of Blood Moon. yeah, Boil, extra copies of Blood Moon, all that good stuff. Not sure how we're going to win this one. It would involve a Blood Moon, I think. Season Pyromancer into... Season Pyromancer, discard these two cards, draw Blood Moon, Blood Moon and the Cascader. A Cascade spell. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's going to do it. Well, there is a Cascade spell. So... But then I think we just die to all of that. What can... We haven't got any main deck answers. Let's see what this draws. See what we get here. Yeah, no Blood Moon, so we could get a Planeswalker onto the battlefield, but then we just die to the attack of the zombies. If we tick up, I guess we could hit something, but it's unlikely. Black, red. Let's put another Planeswalker into play. Guess we're revealing quite a lot of our deck is the trouble, but opponent could have some sort of counter spell. Maybe I meant to exile the Uro there, but let's see what we hit. If we hit Bloodbraid Elf, we're out of mana for that, so we will concede. Okay, well, that was, yeah, a bit unfortunate there. My opponent found Hour of Promise. But we do get to sideboard. So we experimented with Leyline last time. Don't necessarily think that's that good. We're going to get rid of 2 Gemstone Caverns for 2 Blast Zone, as is normal. And then what do we cut? I think we're going to cut some of the Dreads. I think we did this last time. How am I struggling to remember what we did? We definitely want Boil. We definitely want Blood Moon. Anger of the Gods kills all their zombies, but by that time, if they're getting to if they've made 4 zombies, I think we're losing that game anyway. So I think we've got 3 to cut. I think we're going to cut a Chandra. Just doesn't do enough in this matchup. Is it 4 damage it can deal? Yeah, can't kill Uro. Bone Crusher Giant, I think we cut as well, because that doesn't really do that much. I suppose it hits Jace. And then we did some cuts for Leyline last time. That deals with Uro, it doesn't deal with Feel the Dead. I think actually I'm not on the Leyline plan. I think we're going to, in stark contrast. Right, I would like to play first, please. This is a clear mulligan. We're looking. This is another mulligan. Sadly, we're looking for something quite unfair. So we'll go with this. It's got some decent spells in. We have to put 2 on the bottom. We'll put Gemstone Caverns, and I'm going to put Colligan's Command. We want to essentially curve Valki into Blood Moon, and if Valki can take their Uro, then that's just gravy. We could do without Thoughtseize here. Yeah, it's Thoughtseize turn 1. That's annoying. They'd probably take the Blood Moon. Yeah. The jig is up. So now we're just going to get a... We're going to get a Stomping Ground. Let's see what we draw. Colligan's Command. Sure. So we'll play this Valki. Let's cast this. See what my opponent's got. Uro with no removal is the nuts. No, nothing, and they have a fairly good hand. So, no force. They do have gust. Annoying that they saw the blood moon, because I would imagine they fetch quite aggressively for basics now. There's the push. Misty. I think we're going to fire off this K command at sorcery speed. Okay, we'll play this because they know what we've got anyway. I'm not going to fetch basic forest here. We're going to get... We need more red mana, so we're going to get a blood crit. Just going to fire this off so that they can't gust or Archmage's charm it. So we'll get back Valki. Yeah, sadly this is the way it goes sometimes. We've sort of mulled to, what did mull to? Mull to 5 on the play. Opponents kept a good hand and had the discard that would have really helped us. So they get rid of their forest. Good draws now. Yeah, with that hand we're going to struggle to ever do the Cascade, and even if we do manage to Tibalt, they can gust it. They've got another Fatal Push as well. We're drawing lands. I think it's worth just jamming this. It's not getting any better. I suppose we could wait until turn 8, but 7. But yeah, opponent doesn't really have anything. Play this and say go. Yeah, now we're at the stage where we're so far behind. It's going to be very hard to get back from this. I guess we can always draw Boil. They've got 3 islands out. Fatal Push? Yeah, they've used their charm. If they go for an Uro or something and we draw Boil, so they've gone for Uro. So right, this is the turn when we need to draw pretty much exactly Boil. They've got 1 mana. Yeah, so we're going to fetch, just don't want to draw any more lands, and hope to hit Boil. Blood Moon isn't that helpful. We will get a forest though. Boil one time. Boil. Opponent could always have force. Another wooded foothills. I think we just get Uro'd out of the game now, which is unfortunate. I think my opponent put something back on top with Mystic Sanctuary potentially. No, decides against. Is this another Uro from hand, or is this one from the graveyard? There's one from hand, yeah. I think even if we Boil with Uro on the field, I guess now we need to draw a Cascade spell. Mystic Sanctuary, putting Charm on top. Sure. So yeah, this is the turn we need. Oh no, because they've got Ether Gust up as well now. Yeah, this is unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. We managed to get there versus Sultai in round number 1. Yeah, we had that turn to draw a Boil, I think, depending on what my opponent had. going to jam Bloodbraid Elf and hope to hit something good. Well, Blood Moon's alright. Probably just Gust. Yeah, I mean, even if we boil here, Uro can probably get there. Shows the power of this card. I think they would probably win through a one-sided Armageddon. I think we're just going to concede here. I don't think it's worth continuing. Yeah, okay, that's a shame. But yeah, I think we got a bit unlucky there, rolling to 5 and then my opponent having Thoughtseize. But yeah, I think we were always in it. And we'll see you for round number 5. No, round number 4. Okay, welcome to round number 4. We're on the draw, but we do have a Gemstone Cavern, so I think we're going to keep this. Potential turn 2 Violent Outburst. Do this. What are we going to exile? I think it's going to be Bloodbraid, or it could be Bone Crusher. Let's get rid of a Bone Crusher Giant. If we draw a Simian Spirit Guide, that's a turn 2... No, turn 1. Tybalt. It's a Secret Fountain. I've been struggling against Burn with this deck. Let's see Simian Spirit Guide on top. Okay, Verdant Catacombs is fine. Backleaf Cliffs is not so fine. We'll play that out because we've got 2 of them. Okay, don't want to see Eidolon. Don't want to see anything out of this. Yeah, that's bad as well. Suspend Rift Bolt. Sure. There's another land, which isn't too bad. Bone Crusher Giant. So we could kill this. We could Liliana tick down. We could put a Tybalt into play. I think we might put a Tybalt into play. So I don't think it's Bone Crusher Stomp. It's either Liliana or Tybalt. Tybalt would save me some damage potentially. And then if they want to go after Tybalt, they can. Yeah, I think we're going to put a Tybalt into play. It's Violent Outburst. Green. Red. Black. Let's cast the big half. And we will go ahead and exile Monastery Swiftspear. That's a turn 2 Tybalt. Against a lot of decks that would be obviously a lot better than it is here. I'm hoping now to... It's kind of just a distraction Tybalt. Hoping to draw some damage from my opponent's burn spells. Keep me alive. I would imagine... don't know what we'll see. Maybe they're... difficult to know if they should care about this. I think maybe not. Maybe they'll just go Bolt Face, attack Goblin Guide, put me to 10. Whatever burn spells they've got in hand. But, yeah. And then next turn... Depends what we draw. But we probably want to Bloodbraid Elf. Yeah, Burn's been... Burn and Prowess have been challenging for this deck. You just can't... Because they can just ignore a Tybalt. Let's see what we get. Yeah, so they're bolting us. That makes sense. They're always going to do that. Another land. I guess next turn we can play Swiftspear. What was that? Skewer. Yeah, so I think if we hadn't exiled that, we would have died. Is he gonna... Are they gonna attack Tybalt? I'm at 9. I guess 9 is no different to 7 from them, so I might as well kill Tybalt. Yeah. That's fine, that's a lot of lands from that Goblin Guide. Opponent has played a land every turn, possible that they're flooded. So this turn, it really depends what we draw, what my opponent does. I don't mind playing Liliana and Swift Spear. We've drawn a lot of lands, so let's play this Catacombs. So this is always fetching for a forest. I think forest. Now we could stomp, play Swift Spear. I think we'll save stomp for a potential Eidolon. I think it's just Liliana tick down. Is that crazy? Tick down, kill your I guess we're a bit worried that they have Searing Blaze. Liliana... Sorry, tick up. Could it be Liliana tick up? Try and get a burn spell out of their hand. I think we're playing Liliana. Let's see if we have any response. I guess if they're sitting on 2 Boros Charms... If they're sitting on 2 Boros Charms, or a Boros Charm and a Lightning Helix, or a Boros Charm and a Skull Crack, then we're happy to... Yeah, I'm going to uptick. And then be sad when they top deck a Searing Blaze or something. My Searing Blaze land doesn't kill us. Okay, there we go. We've got loads of stuff that we don't care about discarding. So we'll discard this. Yeah, discard the Stomping Ground. Opponent chucks Sunbait Canyon, which isn't the worst. To get out of their hand. Yeah, we're blocking here. Yeah, not the worst to get out of their hand. Yeah, there's a Skull Crack. Okay, so yeah, because it prevents a redraw, I suppose. Lava Spike is pretty good. Okay, but I think we're probably just going to die to my opponent's. So I think what we'll do is we'll play this. We'll tick down, target my opponent. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Because now I can't Demonic Dread. Gah, that was a misplay. I meant to Demonic Dread, put Tybalt into play, and then we can hold up Stomp. But now we can't do that. So we have to Bloodbraid Elf and hope to hit something good. Season Pyromancer would be fine. Yeah, might change this deck a little bit going forward to combat these aggressive decks, but not sure. Is Leyline Sanctity crazy? Leyline Sanctity is possible. Oh, Demonic Dread. That is a pain. Do I attack? No, because you don't want to just die to a Goblin Guide. Yeah, that was a bit silly of me. I wanted to Demonic Dread there. I mean, we did so much off the top of my opponent's deck. Yeah, see. Yeah, we can't afford to attack, so Yeah, opponent drawing card. They get 2 looks at a big burn, well, any burn spell here. Lands and creatures. My opponent can draw those all day. We don't care about those. Eidolon would be interesting. Yeah, there's a Skull Crack. Eidolon, we just Edict with Liliana. Okay, we're definitely struggling here against a burn. Cut the caverns, bring in the blast zone. So Blood Moon can be okay against burn. We're going to bring in Anger of the Gods. We don't have too much, is the trouble. We could bring in Blood Moon. How much do we want to keep Blood Moon in the deck? And if we do, what do we take out? It shuts off their draw lands, and it shuts off Boros Charm and Lightning Helix. I feel like we need all the help we can get. I'm going to cut. I'm not going to bring in all of them, but we'll just cut a couple of Blood Braids. Higher end. Oh, it should be a Chandra, really. Yeah, okay. Not too bad. Right, so this is a Blast Zone. We can't keep this. It's nearly there. We'll keep this. Bottom of Foothills. See what my opponent does. Opponent keeping 7. Vantage. Goblin Guide. Violent out. Yeah, we're going to keep that one on top. So one of these goes and gets a forest. The other one does have to fetch and shock, which is unfortunate. I mean, it could go and get a forest, but no. Go and get a stomping ground. Maybe that should have been Blood Crypt, but let's exile this. Violent Outburst. Yeah, having to fetch twice there is annoying, but this is a turn 2 Valki. Oh, turn 2 Tilbolt. Let's see, yeah, just going to exile this. And then next turn, hopefully find some mana. Bolt. Skewer. I mean, it saved us 3 damage and it exiled their guide. Annoyingly, let's play this out, say go. Not attacking, don't want to give them more lands. Spend a Rift Bolt, sure. We could do with a... Oh, we're not drawing lands now. Yeah, it hasn't quite got the clock against these aggressive decks. I don't really know what to do about that. Wondering if it's... Yeah, it could be... Leyline Sanctity, could be Dragon's Claw, Weather the Storm. I can see Weather the Storm actually, because cascading into. Well, no, Weather the Storm. No, the reason those spells don't work is because they're 2 mana, and you can't. You want to cascade into them with Demonic Dread and stuff. Okay, let's see what we draw. Like, fetch land into Blood Moon isn't the worst, but we can't afford to take another point of damage. 2 more points of damage. Don't know what my opponent has in hand. I mean, you know, you can still win this one if they draw lands for the rest of the game, but unlikely, one would think. Upkeep. Okay, so we draw a fetch land. if we could just get Boros Charmed here, but so we're gonna get a swamp. Do we Blood Moon is the question. Or do we Demonic Dread? I think we're gonna Blood Moon. It just cuts them off. It cuts them off Boros Charm, cuts them off Lightning Helix, cuts off their redraws if they draw Sunbait Canyon. Yeah, Blood Moon's a weird one against burn. I think it is good. I think it is good. There's like you don't want loads of them, but yeah. Opponent hopefully sitting there with not very much. And it could just be fetch Boros Charm. But yeah, we'll see. Opponent is fetching. It's a mountain. Not sure what the point of that was. This is going to be a... it's going to be a mountain anyway. Okay, so... we're now insulated from Boros Charm and Lightning Helix. Then next turn we can Demonic Dread if we get another turn. However unlikely that may be. Here's one burn spell. Yeah, Lightning Bolt. So I need my opponent to draw lands and white spells. That's a land. So, yeah, we've got no way of gaining life is the trouble. Let's cast this. We'll exile the top card of each player's library. That's annoying, that's a Boros Charm. We can't attack though, just because we're dead to Swift Spear. That's a bit annoying actually. That's Eidolon. We can deal with that with Tybalt. Exile this. Not going to be wanting to cast that. At what stage do I start attacking? So I could Boros Charm them now. I don't... am I attacking? No, because I need them to draw lands, but I haven't got a clock. That's another Eidolon. Oh, I can't Boros Charm them. I should have stomped in response. That's me playing badly. Get that out of here. I can't attack. I don't think I can attack. Maybe I should have been attacking. I mean, it's possible that I can burn my opponent out. It's not likely, but it's possible. Let's tick this up. See what we hit. Oh, we're hitting bad stuff. But we can now do... I think... are we just going to stomp? Or Bloodbraid Elf? I think Bloodbraid Elf actually, that gets a clock going. I mean, we've been so lucky so far. Yeah, so... target player discards a card. Are there any spells I want to get? Do I want Valki back? Not really. Yeah, so just you discard, deal you 2 damage. Core Firewalker, sure. So we'll attack with Bloodbraid Elf. So Stomp Stomp. If we can fade a draw here, we win, right? We can Stomp Stomp attack with Bloodbraid Elf. Please be Eidolon. Ah, that was so close. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, so close. We needed them to brick one draw. Yeah, because then we attack for 5, stomp, stomp, kill my opponent. That was so close. I mean, we got very lucky fading a lot of stuff for a lot of turns. But Blood Moon coming in clutch there. Right, okay. Well, see you back again for round number 5. Okay, welcome back for round number 5 with Cascade Valki. This has gemstone. Yeah, I think we're going to keep this. It's got turn 1 stomp. Gemstone Caverns. Okay, pitch gemstone caverns. So we get to get that land into play. It's got turn 3 Blood Moon. Misty Rainforest deck, so Blood Moon could be good. Catacombs. Okay, so we go and get Swamp with this, Forest with this, try and slam Blood Moon on 2. Okay, it's a Steam Vent. That's not what I expected. Okay, so Blood Moon could be less good here. Could be Storm. Storm doesn't seem like a good matchup for this. Ketria Try. Oh, okay, so it is that kind of deck. Could be. 4 colour doesn't run that though. What? Forest Island Mountain. Alright, so this goes and gets. What do we need? We're going to get a Swamp. We don't want to draw any more lands. Thought I'd messed up then, but there we good. Get a Forest. Play this Blood Moon. See if it does any work. See if it resolves first. It does resolve, and it does win us match number 1. Not sure what this is. Fetch lands aren't often in Storm. Forest Island Mountain could be the 4 colour deck, but they don't run Opt. Not sure what this is. Either way, Blood Moon proved good, and we're going to want Boil, so we'll sideboard. So we're going first, take out the Gemstone Caverns, bring in the Blast Zones. Given that a turn 2 Blood Moon won us that game, we're going to bring in all of the Blood Moons, we're going to bring in the Boils. I'm going to cut a couple of Demonic Dreads. And what else do we want to cut? I think we might cut some Bone Crushers. What do we think about that? It's some sort of control deck. Bone Crusher's probably not that great. Let's go with that. Let's try and boil the ocean. Going for the 3 and 2. Okay, so this is an interesting one. It's not doing anything. Well, it's got turn 2 and then turn 3 Valki. I think we can do better. I'm going to mulligan. Yeah, we'll keep this. It's not necessarily better, but it's got Seasoned Pyromancers to regas us. What are we going to bottom? I think I'll bottom a Seasoned Pyromancer. You don't really want to. I don't think. We'll keep this, bottom one of those. I'm going to want my lands to cast my spells, because we're on, we've got high CMC with this deck. Scalding Tarn. The other effect of Blood Moon is obviously scaring your opponents into onto fetching aggressively for basic lands. Will we see that here? No, we see a breeding pool. Is this opt? Lonely. Okay, so this is a Ren and 6 deck. There's a mountain, so this is Ren and 6. Yeah, so it's some sort of 4-colour control, but you don't often see opt in that. Okay, we could do is stop drawing violent outbursts, really. Although, I guess they're good. Okay, so we're gonna get a forest. And I think we're just going to use my mana. We don't want this Ren and 6 getting up too high. Or we could just start violent outbursting now. That's a spirit guide. No, I think we'll do it at the end of their turn, untap and do it in my turn. We don't want to give them just something to counter now. Because they're likely to counter it in their turn. Okay. So we'll go to my opponent's end step. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Definitely had a friend counter the Cascade when people try and living end. You definitely don't want to keep countering this one. You want to see what they cascade into and counter that. Right, so we're going to Cascade into Tybalt, cast a 4-mana spell, 7-mana spell on my opponent's turn 4. Do they have a response to that? Looks like they have some sort of response. Could be Cryptic Command, which would be a little annoying. It is Cryptic Command. Okay, so now we are sort of hoping my opponent doesn't have Force of Negation. Play a land. Well, I think we go for it. There's a Tybalt. It does resolve. Yeah, so we're going to want to tick this up. And we can cast that opt. This is a... It is fun playing with your opponent's cards, I'm not going to lie. Opponent's got a lot of basic lands, but Blood Moon can still do work. Okay, returning Misty, I guess they can put something back on top if they really want. Wouldn't mind them putting it on top, forgetting that Tybalt's going to exile it so that we can cast Cryptic. I guess they can loan the Sandbar in response. But yeah, so there's the Misty. We knew they had that. They've got 8 cards in hand, but I do have a massive Planeswalker. Their Ren and 6 is on 5. They're attacking me. Cryptic bounce this would be annoying. Do they have another Cryptic? It is looking likely. No, we can't play Veil of Summer in this deck. But we do have another Violent Outburst though as well. Yeah, okay. don't mind drawing a land, really, because then we can go Blood Moon and Violent Outburst. Cast an Opt off a swamp. Don't mind Bloodbraid Elf, really, actually. Yeah, we'll draw that. Question is, I suppose, do we, what are we going to do? Would I like to draw a land there? Let's go, I think we'll go Bloodbraid Elf, because we want to hit Ren and 6, really. Oh, yeah, well, that's best of both worlds. Opponent, don't know what my opponent will get. That's a forest, that's fine. There's a Blood Moon. Attack Red and 6. Okay, so that's turned off Cryptic Command for now. We don't know how many basic islands my opponent plays. They've got 8 cards in hand. We've got some good gas in hand as well. Turns off Mystic Sanctuary shenanigans as well. Yeah, and it's just about stops Uro. Okay. Opponent got 1 blue mana up. So the only thing that we're too worried about is that mana leak. I guess we could Valki, see what they have. Okay, so if we Valki and then use the Spirit Guide to Violent Outburst, I think that's the way to go. Just check they don't have Force. So we need to hold a green mana. Okay, so they don't have Force. We're going to take this Uro. I could just make it into a copy now. Valki, God of Lies becomes a copy of that card. Don't think we... well... This is interesting now. Oh, my opponent can't flash in another one of those. What have they got? Okay, I think this is fine. We're going to attack Ren and 6. So now, if they down tick, I think we are actually just going to hold, because if my opponent tries to down tick on Valki with their Ren and 6, I can then Uro. Yeah, we'll turn that into an Uro. Build your own Uro. I mean, I am going to get Death Touched, annoyingly, but there's a land. So, yeah, we'll attack Ren and 6 with this. I wonder if... did we stomp? Or did we... yeah, no, we did stomp, didn't we? Yeah. Okay. So my opponent has a lot of stuff. Yeah, right, so... can't cast Liliana. but we can Violent Outburst. Probably should have Demonic Dreaded, actually. Yeah, that would have been better. Has my opponent drawn some sort of counterspell? Not looking like it. We'll exile each player's top of their library. We hit another Blood Moon and a K command. Yeah, don't mind that at all. Cycling Lonely Sandbar. Sure. We may want to cast another Blood Moon at some point, in case my opponent finds Ether Gust. Ether Gust the Blood Moon would be pretty brutal. I think we've chugged through a number of these. They do have an Euro back now. Oh, I guess they can Life from the Loam and keep drawing more cards, but yeah, this deck's really fun. Just using my opponent's spells against them. Time Warp hits the bin. So if I can get up to Tybalt's ultimate, we're going to start taking some turns. Right, here we go. Upkeep. So yeah, we'll tick up in case we hit a land that we might want to play. Oh, hitting a Valki is a bit annoying. We don't hit a... Oh, we do hit a land. Oh, a snow-covered island as well. That's pretty nice. I don't think we want that, though. So we'll just play this from hand. And we got 6 mana. So we can either... We could play... I think it's Bloodbraid Elf to kill Renin 6. Or we could play 2 3-mana spells. How much do I care about killing Renin 6? Like not. Oh, we can play Flusterstorm as well. Crikey. I think actually I want to... Let's just play a Blood Moon, because that's... So how do I lose this game, I guess? And one way is then blowing up Blood Moon. So, what are we going to want to cast after? Maybe a Seasoned Pyromancer? That's Blood Moon. Yeah, I think that's fine, and then we'll just... we could just hold up Kolaghan's Command and Flusterstorm, or... we could cast Bone Crusher Giant. Wondering how many roads lead to Rome here. I think we're just going to cast Bone Crusher Giant. Get the clock going. We need to actually win the game at some point. Although next turn we get to cast so many spells. We get to cast a Valki. We get to cast a Time Warp, Opts, Cryptic Commands. Yeah, if we manage to if we manage to ultimate this Valki next turn, opponent does put a card on top. Okay, I mean, I guess my opponent could ping Valki with Renin 6, but not sure how much we care about that. Maybe we should have held up Flusterstorm. Okay, so how do we lose this game? Time Warp doesn't mean... Oh, they are Time Warping. I guess Time Warp and then Renin 6. But they can't loop this. Life from the Loam. Sure. Play a land. But they'll find it hard to loop it because... So there's 3 Time Warps in the bin. How many mana am I going to have next turn? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we're going to have 10, so I can cast Time Warp twice next turn as long as we untap. Opponent can't really loop it. They've got 7 cards in hand. Have we gone through all of the Ice Fangs? I guess they're looking for basics into the bin to get back with Dredge, but we hit a snow-covered island with Tibalt. How many Valkys are gone? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we can't actually cascade into another Valky. What can my opponent have here? Ah, okay. Opponent concedes. Well, we'll take that. Yeah. Didn't quite do as well as I had done in other practice, but we'll definitely take the 3 and 2, especially against 2 Sultai decks, another Uro deck. Yeah, so thoughts on the deck. I'm enjoying it. I think anyone casting a 7 mana spell on turn 1 is going to be having a good time. It's got a couple of different angles of attack that I really enjoy. So you've got the kind of the obvious one, which is just slamming a Tibalt on turn 1, 2, or 3. But then it's also got the Blood Moon element. You're able to bring in the full playset of Blood Moon and 3 boils against the Uro decks. Didn't need these Mindbreak traps. Maybe this is. I'd probably get rid of these going forward because I don't know. We haven't seen much of that other deck, and I'd only really be bringing it in against the other. What's it called? Tibalt's Trickery, I guess, deck. Didn't really need these ley lines. I think I'm going to be off playing it against Uro decks. I think the Boil and Blood Moon plan is enough. Blaststone was interesting. Like, it's good to swap it out for Gemstone Caverns. I guess we would like to see it against things like Prowess and Burn. I would like some sort of spell that is good against Prowess and Burn. But yeah, the examples I was thinking of earlier are 2 CMC, which we can't have anything 2 CMC unless. So what's a 3 mana spell, 3 or 4 mana spell that just hoses Burn? Could be replacing these for Leyline of Sanctities. Could be replacing these for Leyline of Sanctities. Could be Pulse of Marusa. Is that crazy? That's probably going a bit far. But yeah, something. Don't know. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like to see more of. Not sure what my next deck that I'll play will be, but if there's any requests, just give me a shout. In the meantime, if you like what you see, please like and subscribe. Gives me an idea of how I'm doing. And yeah, hope to catch you on the next video. Cheers.